This is a 1955 BSA, Birmingham Small Arm, 650cc Super Flash. So this particular bike, it's a 650 twin. It's pretty much top of the range bike. And after the World War II, BSA had to concentrate on the export drive. They said it was made for the American market. Two reasons: one, for sales, they wanted something that would appeal to the American people, which I do, raised handlebars. Don't ask me about the blue glitter grips, I assume I had it on at some stage, and the grab rail, and also the extension to the rear light there. It brings the light back from the license plate because there's a minimum distance you have to have between the light and the license plate in the States. And then when it was sold, so I've got the bill of sale, the original bill of sale for it and some other documents, because to re-import a machine you need documentation to go with it. Anyway, on the original bill of sale, it was sold with some extra accessories. The crash bars here, a screen, a handlebar screen, which I haven't put on because they really don't handle so good, and also these pannier racks. So these weren't made by BSA, they were made by a company called Buco, also in Detroit, because obviously Detroit was Motown, and these have actually been cut down to fit this bike, because normally they're on the big Indians and Harley Davidsons. So it was marketed as the Super Flash, which is a name that wasn't used in the UK. It would have been called a Golden Flash in the UK. But I've not had this bike this long. I bought it about 3 or 4 years ago, and I already have 3 others, but I just liked it so much because it's in such original standard condition. And the first owner was a woman, a Frances Parsons of Mount Tom, Massachusetts. So if anybody knows her, if it's your mother or granny, do get in touch. I'd love to talk to her, see what she thought about it. But it appears that the bike was supplied as new by Wolf Indian Cycle Sales, out of Springfield, Massachusetts, which is where Indian were made. And I get the kind of feeling maybe it was bought as a beginner bike, and then maybe she upgraded to some big Indian or Harley, the kind of thing you associate with the Yanks. And this, I think it sat in the back of the garage kind of unused, because when I got it, it had under 20,000 miles on the clock, and it's now got 25,000 miles on the clock. So I don't know what the history is. It'd be nice to find out why, or maybe she just didn't like it. I don't know. So the bike was supplied as new by Wolf Cycle Sales, inclusive of Springfield, Massachusetts. Originally they were Wolf Indian Cycle Sales, but I'm not quite sure the year that Indians stopped using bikes, but they had. And this little decal, it would have gone on the rear license plate, but because the UK number plate is considerably larger than the American one, it won't actually fit on. So I'm kind of think I might make some brackets and stick it on there, but I don't really want to drill into the mudguard just to stick it on. So work in progress, and just make sure I don't lose it between then and now, really. But yeah, I've got this ghastly seat cover on it, which looks like a shower cap, only because it's so original that it's still got the original seat on it. So I'm just kind of keeping that nice. Don't want the seat cover to split, get too worn, etc. And the other kind of interesting thing about it is, as new, it would have been black. I've been up to the Vintage Motorcycle Club library and looked at the factory records, and this wasn't a colour for 1955 when it was made, but a couple of years later they expanded the range of colours, and so this is the BSA's Nutley Blue, and she had it repainted. So you can see here it's black underneath, and she had it repainted, and there's a receipt somewhere for the extra transfers, which is quite nice to see these original transfers on it. Also, I put the mirror on here as well because I wanted to keep the handlebars nice and clean, because it didn't have a mirror when I got it. So obviously I don't want to change it, but I hate riding without a mirror. But I have it down here, which is quite American and cool. Yeah, there's a pair of spotlights here to alert cars of my presence, but I don't think they're working. But I like the idea. It's like the kind of boomer boys, the kind of Ewan and Charlie's on their big bikes. I thought I can have that too. Oh, the battery's flat, the horn's not working either. The ammeter's twitching in a kind of optimistic way, but it's not actually doing anything. He only likes to talk, does he not? Park. Oh, a little park light there, a little glimmer. Let's try the main. No, it's too flat. Should I start it up and see if we can get some lights out of it? some petrol on. I'll give it a little tickle as it's cold. Yeah, it's interesting because it's still got the original air filter on it here and the original cover over the gearbox and the original drip tray, because very often those got lost. People take the bike apart and it's nearly 70 years old. People take them apart and they lose the bits and they don't put them back on because they think it will make it lighter and go better. There we are, just tickling it up. Got the pits there. Will it start first kick? Probably not. 3, 2, 1. Yay! Right, lights. There we are, we have lights. Main beam, dip beam, park, off. That's enough of that. So BSA as a company, they started in the 1860s making armaments, making guns basically, and they expanded to make lathes and tooling, and then they opened their motorcycle section in 1903, but they didn't actually produce the first motorcycle until 1910, so they were actually quite a late starter in terms of motorcycling, because I think Ariel and Triumph and Douglas were well in production by then. So it was at one time one of the biggest motorcycle companies in the world. The claim was in the 50s that 1 in every 4 motorcycles sold worldwide was a BSA. So that was pretty impressive, really, pretty impressive. Anyway, what happened was obviously the rise of the Japanese market after World War II, and they were coming up with modern bikes with electric starters, and they didn't leak oil. And I think along with a lot of industry in the UK, BSA struggled after World War II because they were still using equipment made in the 1910s, 1920s. They didn't have the capacity to upgrade the equipment, whereas in Japan they were starting from scratch after World War II, I believe. So the product the Japanese were developing was really superior to British bikes. So by the 60s, the Japanese bikes had got a foothold in the UK, and they started competing in the Isle of Man races. And then by the 70s, it was really a one-way trip for BSA, and they went bust. I think it was in 1974. Yep, all very sad. The end of a company that had been making bikes since 1910. So. And these are the reasons I bought my Blue Beauty, these lovely panniers. Look at these. They were sold with the bike when it was new, and they are just superb. They're made out of saddle leather, and they've got lots of studding in them. And sadly, some of the studs are coming off, and one's just fallen out, and I can't find it. I thought I put it in my pocket, but I can't find it now. I want to keep it as a pattern so that I can buy a replacement one at an auto jumper. There's a chap who specialises in refurbishing like Lewis leather jackets, and he puts the studding on the back like for rockers. I want to get something to match because they're quite unusual because they're domed. Anyway, let's get them put on. And I'm just Rick, have you seen the missing stud?
I haven't, no.
Oh, it's a little round one, but I think what's happening where these are probably like
it was in the bottom of the pannier, wasn't it?
The tags are coming off the back, so
yeah.
that's why they keep falling off. But they're quite very American.
You're going to put those on there?
Oh yeah, give me a hand. You do that one. I've got my padlock here. They got some tags there, and you have to line them up there. Are they handed? I think they're handed. Yeah, they are. They're the wrong way around. Did you get yours on?
No.
No, they're handed. Look, there's less gap here than there is on the other side, so the short gap goes at the front, I reckon.
Does it?
Yeah.
Alright.
I reckon.
Padlock in.
Yeah.
Job's a good one. Still wrestling?
I am. Let me hold that in
yeah.
there.
Way.
Yeah, job's a good one. Right, so look, there's a little slot there, so you can stick that in there, and then you can put the little dinky little padlock in there. And then they're quickly detachable when you're out shopping, allegedly.
Is that me done? Can I go and get on?
Yeah, off you go. Thank you.
Jolly good.
Thank you. Right, off to the shops. Here's my lovely Finn's jacket. I'm so sad I bought it to go with the bike. I really fancied that, the cowboy look, as it's a Western bike, you see, in the US. Right, petrol on. Petrol on.